And really, you talk about this collaboration. This idea, this really formed in the business community.
Exactly. I was the center director for about 4 weeks when I got a call from a local heart surgeon, Dr. Dan Adams, who was the president of the Evansville City Council, and he had just had lunch with 2 business leaders. And he encouraged them to come and talk to me about what the IU School of Medicine should be for southwestern Indiana. So I met with Andy Gable and Ed Hafer about 2 weeks later, and they basically asked me what I thought the IU School of Medicine should be for southwestern Indiana. And I sort of laid out this vision to them. And of course they said, by the way, if you had all the resources and you could draw it out, what would you do? So I basically laid out this vision, and 2 weeks later I was in Mr. Bob Cook's office telling him the same vision. And he said, I love this idea. And actually they had done an economic impact study for the region through the Indiana Economic Development Corp about 2 years earlier, and 3 of the 5 pillars of their economic growth were 3 things that I had mentioned we should do. So that's where this whole thing started. And I presented the initial vision 5 months later, after utilizing Grand Rapids, Michigan as our template city, to the board of the ERBC, and that's where this whole thing started.
So the business community really kind of jump-started this idea 6, 7, 8 years ago?
Yes, they really did. The business leaders universally rallied behind this concept, and I think, like a lot of communities, things of great importance happen only when the business community is on board and buys in. That's the one thing I learned from going to Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids renaissance occurred because of the business community in Grand Rapids. And ultimately the renaissance for downtown Evansville will occur because our business community has viewed that as a critical component to a vibrant Southwest Indiana.
And so much of the focus in Indiana around the state is on talent, on keeping talent, but also attracting talent in. Obviously, this is a healthcare, life sciences, medical development. But in your view, from a talent perspective, what does this mean? Will this mean to Evansville and Southwest Indiana?
Well, I think right away it's going to inject several hundred new professional people into our region, in the next 2 years. And I think with that comes an enormous amount of talented people with them. So I've had multiple companies call me and say, we are looking for this kind of individual. If one of the spouses of somebody coming in has this skill set, please refer them to us. So I think you can see the spillage from this project already. So it will inject another level of professional component to our community that's critical for economic development.